Good morning and a very warm welcome to you to the Idea Morning Digest. And today is Monday, the 5th of January, and we are so glad you out there is starting your morning, and not just your morning, you're kickstarting the first full week of 2026 with us, and we are very excited. My name is Cynthia Bassi, and we have a whole lot packed today. A whole lot of things have been, happening. A whole lot of things have been going on, so much in the conversation today. And yes, like we always tell you, this is the place where you run to first if you want to hear things around science, around technology, around entrepreneurship, around innovation, policies, development, research, you name them, all of those issues that affect you and I. So this is how I welcome you to the Idea Morning Digest. And of course, I am not alone, never alone on the Idea Morning Digest. And today I'm with I like the way you're just smiling. I guess it's that hope again. Okay. All right. So coming up, we'll be breaking down the headlines we have for you today. But first, let's go through the news stories we'll be bringing your way. The first story we'll be bringing your way is that President Tinubu orders manhunt after deadly Niger state attacks. And Lagos government reaffirms rewards for outstanding public servants. Okay, to Togo approves new 10-year decentralization roadmap. And lastly, Gabon unveils new 31-member cabinet. That and more is what we'll be bringing your way in the first segment, and later the discussion segment we'll be talking about something as well. But let's go on this short break, and when we are back, we get down to the news proper.
Number 10, advanced cybersecurity with AI and quantum resistance. Cyber threats are growing as fast as the technology protecting against them. In 2023, the U.S. saw over 3,200 reported ransomware incidents, according to the FBI's IC3 report, a 74% increase from the year before. AI-driven cybersecurity tools are now being trained to spot anomalies in real time, identifying breaches before they spread. At the same time, researchers are developing quantum-resistant encryption. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has already selected new post-quantum cryptographic algorithms, preparing for a world where quantum computers could break today's encryption in seconds.
Okay, welcome back, and it's good to know you are still there. And if you're just joining us, this is the Idea Morning Digest here on Idea TV. So the first story we're bringing your way, President Bola Tinubu has ordered an immediate manhunt for terrorists who killed more than 40 people and abducted several others during coordinated attacks on communities in Niger State. The assaults occurred on Saturday in Agwara and Bogo local government areas with
and running away because they want to protect and preserve their lives. It's actually a sad word there, because I can imagine how many children were adopted from that place and how separated the families will be. I think at this point the government needs to look fully into this, like very, very important.
It's very heavy for me. I don't even know where to start from. It's very, but I have to start from somewhere. I mean, this is a very heavy one. I mean, coming from all we have battled in the last few months and weeks, and we still entered. I mean, it's not like the new year we are flying over something, or, crossing a bridge, or crossing maybe a water or something in reality. But in our minds, we are crossing something, we are crossing over. But then coming into the year and seeing this again, more than 40 Nigerians have been killed again. Communities were invaded for hours. That's where the problem lies. I mean, not just that they were abducted, they operated for hours.
For hours.
Markets were burnt, people were abducted, and once again, forest again.
Forest.
I mean,
rescue them. It lasted for hours. That should tell you that it's a remote area where there are no even maybe vigilantes or
anything.
There was no quick intervention. That kind of amount of people were killed. At that particular, oh my God,
it's very sad that forests keep appearing in the in our security stories. Anytime we want to talk about it, it's always forest, and as it stands now, forest is more like the central. It's more like the central point in this narrative. And now, to what the president is saying, the response, I feel like the response of the president follows a particular, a familiar pattern, something that we are familiar with, something that we know of already. I mean, he's ordering a manhunt, he's directing the Minister of Defense, he's instructing service chiefs, he's instructing IGPs, he's promising that perpetrators will face the full course of the law, all of those things. I mean, this is exactly what Commander-in-Chief should do. Exactly. The president is not meant to even remind them this is what they should do. So there's no argument there when he's saying all of them should come on deck, all hands should be on deck. But where we need to be honest, Mary, is that this is where some people won't like what I'm about to say. Okay. Oh, yes, a lot of people will not like what I'm about to say, because Nigeria has mastered that language of reaction. And I think I always say this on the show. We have mastered that language of reaction. And we've been struggling with that discipline of prevention for a long time. It's always something happens, and then this has carried on for months. This has carried on for years.
Yes.
And in the last few months of 2025, we saw heated, operations here and there. But then we still have to come down to this again. I mean, it's too early in the year.
It's too early.
We have had manhunt after Zamfara, when the Zamfara one happened. We have heard go after those in Kaduna. We have heard go after the terrorists in Benue State. We have heard the Plateau own. We have heard all of these talks before. But my question is, and that's what you pointed out when you were talking, how do these attackers, how do these perpetrators, how do these terrorists operate? These people operated for hours.
For hours.
For hours. And I'm stating it again. They burnt down market. They looted shops.
They even had time to stay at
They had
people.
time.
They had time
To carry out all of this.
You can imagine.
These operations are in. I mean.
You can imagine how many hours. Like you said, it's a repeated pattern. We'll be hearing, we're going to do this. We'll be hearing, we'll be seeing the government reacting. But we've not. Are these people invisible?
Invisible.
That's what I want to. Are they
Are
invisible?
they? Because how can this?
Yes.
Are you telling me that the state still does not have full control over ungoverned areas, ungoverned spaces in a state? Because we had before entering this year, the president came out and said they want to reinstate forest guards, which is a step in the right direction. I really like that initiative, and there we were asking how prepared they are, how trained. How long have they trained for? And we heard that they trained for 3 months and whatnot. And I was like, okay, what was the criteria of even employing these people? Are there already existing security agents
Or just you
that we want to transition into forest guards now, or they were just recruited based on if you have strength and power, come out. So all of these things, when police say the area is remote, that phrase alone worries me. It worries me seriously, because remoteness should not equal lawlessness. In a modern state, we are in 2026 now, and we are still talking about remote areas or no remote areas in Nigeria. There are still areas in a country that is not governed. We are still tagging ungoverned area. Throughout last year, I was hearing ungoverned area. I was like, ungoverned area. So area. It means we do not have control over every land. And there's another layer here to this, the death toll discrepancy here, because police say over 30. I'm seeing on other news, 40. Like the one we read, over 40. I'm seeing on other news over 50, over this.
You're not even certain the numbers of people.
Exactly. The community people came out and say over 40, meaning maybe it has gotten to 100. Who knows? And then all of this conflict in reporting, I think we talked about this last week on the Idea Morning Digest, about this communication. You spoke lengthily about communication gap. How do we communicate with each other? There's always this misinformation or this conflict in reporting. This one is saying this one is saying. It raises a lot of trust issues, and it worries me a lot, because communities are counting bodies, they are counting missing faces, they are counting, but press releases are coming out to tell us a different story. I mean, all of these things are very worrisome, and I don't even know what to say. I just think Nigeria should treat this whole forest security with all seriousness at this point in time. Whatever area or whatever space in a state we are regarding as ungoverned area, it's time it should be governed. In 2026, they must be governed. And all of these things must be backed with serious intelligence measures. We don't want to hear they were calling this one was not going, this other one was not
How are these
going.
people even sure that leaving the particular place they are to another place, how are they even sure they are going to be safe?
Be safe.
That's the thing.
I mean,
So the government should look into this practically. It's not about just reacting to the news. It's about acting. People want the action. They want to see the action because this is not funny any longer. Carrying children from one point A to point B doesn't really make sense. And to tell you that these people had time to do what they were doing.
it's the time that is most baffling.
They
to
were
me.
able to body the markets and everything, and there was no security
Nothing.
intervention instantly.
Nobody called anybody
Nobody
from
called
city
anybody.
centers to
That's
come
to
and
tell
run.
you that there's poor network in that environment, and maybe most of them do not even have
I think,
strong,
Mary,
you know.
our time is fast spent. Nigeria's problem is bigger than
It's bigger.
us,
it's
but we are here. We must solve it
Definitely.
together. Okay, the next story we have here, the Lagos state government says public servants who show excellence and dedication will continue to receive tangible rewards. Interesting. And the assurance was given as the state officially commenced activities for the 2026 work year. The state's head of service, Bode Agoro, spoke on Friday during an inter-religious prayer session held at the Adeyemi Bero Auditorium in Alausa, Ikeja. The event brought together Christian, Muslim, and traditional leaders alongside senior government officials and workers from across ministries, departments, and agencies. Mr. Agoro said hard work will no longer be met with only more responsibility but with appropriate recognition and benefits, describing 2026 as a year of great expectations and endless possibilities for the Lagos public service. I think this is very, very commendable coming from Lagos State. Lagos State's governance style, I think I really like it. It's improving. It's always improving.
Okay.
Lagos State is a state I will say I'll always give accolades to. I'll always give them their flowers because at every point in time, they are always on their 10 toes. They're always trying to do something. You know, we can call Lagos, it's very safe at this point in time to call Lagos the tech hub of Africa or Nigeria.
Right.
You know, it's going after... Maybe it's going to be the next Silicon, Valley. Who knows? But then Lagos State is always, doing something. But when we talk about rewarding people for hard work, it's very important. I think we've said this before because it builds on their, how will I put it? It gives them that morale. It boosts their morale. It gives them that motivation to want to do better. It gives them that confidence to want to, do better, improve themselves. So I think it's very important because this is something that is hardly done in for civil servants. It's something that is hardly done for public. For civils in the civil service, and I feel like Lagos State coming out to say this is what we want to do for civil service reform. It shows that the government is listening. The government is not just listening. The government is seeing, and the government is here. It's a very symbolic. I think it's a very symbolic matter here because we are seeing that there was interreligious prayers, Christian, Muslim, people of different faiths. It just shows Lagos has always been that state that reflects diversity, and I like them for that. And I feel like rewarding excellence sounds very great. It sounds very great, but we also should have it at the back of our mind that excellence must be clearly defined. If you're being as a civil servant now, because civil servants are tired of all those vague praises, they'll say they are trying, or sometimes they'll say they are not even doing anything at all. So I feel there should be this rewarding style they have started with. They should continue with it. So it's going to, improve effort. It should come with promotions. It should come with all other things because it is going to show in performance, in their performance as a whole. So I think it's a good one altogether.
When workers are being rewarded for their hard work, it gives room for improvement, and it makes the people, the other set of people that are working on that, maybe the junior set of people, to also look up to them and feel encouraged that when they are hard working, they are going to be rewarded. It's very, very encouraging. It creates room for encouragement. You're encouraging that person, giving the person the strength to do more, and giving the person the power to put more effort in that work. And yeah, it's very commendable, and I really support that. hard work there in Lagos State.
Yes. Okay, so to Togo now. Togo has approved a new national decentralization roadmap covering 2025 to 2024, aimed at strengthening local governance. Is it 2024? Okay. Okay, 2024 to 2025. It's aimed at strengthening local governments and government and or governance and grassroots development. The policy was adopted by the the Council of Ministers on Wednesday, December 2024 and 2025. The government says the framework will strengthen the capacity of local authorities, improve citizen participation, and address gaps in transfer of powers and financial resources to communes. It builds on reforms launched in 2019 and recommendations from the National Decentralization Council. Officials say the roadmap will enable communes to deliver better public service, improve land use planning, and mobilize local revenue. The process, involving 117 communes nationwide, is seen as key to inclusive development and sustainable public policy. I want to be sure that I am getting that story that's in Togo. Okay, it's 2025 to 2034 roadmap. Okay, because the news was saying another thing. It's 2025 to 2034 roadmap. Yes, because I was wondering, 2025, 2020, they want to carry us back. No. So I'm very sorry for that. We did not mean to misinform you. It's 2025 to 2034 roadmap. Yes. So speaking on what Togo is trying to do, I think this is it just shows that governance lessons don't stop at borders. It just shows that Togo is trying to, first of all, approve a 10-year decentralization roadmap running from 2025 to 2034, and that's a long-term thinking. If you want to think of it, and quite frankly, African governments do not do enough of that.
Okay.
Yes, because for context, decentralization means, shifting power, resources, and decision making closer to local government. This time is not only going to be in federal government. So anytime I hear, because I've always been on the stance of states, local government should be given monopoly to autonomy, if that's the right word to say. Federal government should not, monopolize every thing. So, and Togo has 117 communes. That's local government. That's how they call that. I think that's the French way of local government, communes. And this policy directly affects all of them. So I think it's a good one. And what really stands out here to me is not just about the plan, but is the fact that the admission that there are gaps. They are coming out to say there are lapses. There are so many places which need to be filled. There are so many gaps which need to be bridged. There are so many gaps in transfer of power, gaps in funding, gaps in policy, and so many things. And I really like that they were very honest, and that honesty matters at this point in time. We always talk about trust with in government. So when a government comes out to say this is what is going on, we recognize these gaps, we understand these gaps, and this is what we want to do. It shows accountability, and this roadmap builds on a reform that started in 2019, if I'm getting that correctly from the news, meaning this is not a fresh policy. It's something that was brought about, but there was no continuation of it. So I like that.
It was revisited.
Yes, I like that, and it's very rare for most African governments to continue with reforms and initiatives that are being brought. But what stood out here is the fact that they want to continue with that. They saw a lapses. They saw something that was almost halted, because since 2019 and we're already in 2026, and I think they revised it so it will carry on from 2025 through 2034. And I think it's a good one, because decentralization is also something that Nigeria too not see, it's an unresolved debate in Nigeria as well. and I always talk about it. Let's find a way to give local governments, give states power. Let states give local governments power, because those are the way you can meet the people's needs directly. Because how many people can reach the federal government? But at least you can reach your local government area chairman, this, that, your president of your chairman of your ward and whatnot. So when we talk about federalism, and then we are not seeing that local governments are, um, owning their own funds, managing their own funds. We are seeing weak administration from local government. Then what about federalism are we talking about? So I really think decentralization is the way to go. I just
like the fact that the local government here is being visible. It's one thing to have local government, it's another thing to make them visible. And yes, the local governments, they are very close to the people, where the people can reach out to them, and where they can meet the needs of the people. So, like you said, bringing it back to Nigeria here, I just feel that the local government should be given power to be visible enough to attend to things fastly, and so that we can have quick results in terms of structuring and restructuring. So yes, that's all I want to say about this particular story.
Let's move to the last story we have here. Still in Africa, Gabon's President Brice Clotaire Nguema has announced a new government, expanding the cabinet of 31 members. The changes were unveiled on Thursday, marking a fresh phase in the country's post-election political transition. Former Interior Minister Herman Omongolt is now Vice President of the government, a role equivalent to Prime Minister, while Higos Alexandre Barrow Chambere becomes Vice President of the Republic. Key new appointments include Mariette Tasla Yedombene, I hope I'm not murdering their names, as Foreign Affairs Minister, and Thierry Minko as Economy and Finance Minister, with responsibility for tackling the rising cost of living. The reshuffle follows recent local and legislative elections won by the ruling authorities and comes amid economic pressure. The new cabinet is expected to focus on political stability, stronger public finances, and easing living costs, as growth is projected to slow to about 2.4% over the next 2 years. Very, very good news, still talking about governance and try to navigate post-election and post-transition environment, navigate power. We've seen that here in Gabon, they have expanded their cabinet to 31 members, which was formerly not. And now the cabinet expansion always raises so many questions, because when it happens here in Nigeria too, or in any other part of the world, people begin to raise eyebrows and ask questions about, is it inclusive? Is it inclusive, especially when it comes to having many women in political seats? Yeah. People are asking so many things. Is it a political balancing? The creation of 2 powerful vice presidential roles is particularly interesting here in this news when I look at it, because we're seeing Herman Imongod, a vice president of the government, effectively a prime minister style role. I mean, and you know what a prime minister is, a very huge